Fellow citizens, fellow workers, welcome, have a good day. My name is Sébastien Labelle. I'm a resident of District 5 and also a member of Solidarity Halifax's Municipal Action Committee. And I'm here just to say a few things about our place of gathering here today. First, I'd like to acknowledge that the land we're standing on is unceded Mi'kmaq territory. Unceded territory means that this land was never formally surrendered, relinquished, or handed over to settlers who joined the Mi'kmaq to live here. On this land, the Mi'kmaq people have self-governed, raised families, generated economic activity, and practiced their culture long before and after the first settlers set foot in their territory. In our lives today, the privileges, the luxuries, the land and its resources we often take for granted are the harvest of many years of exploitation and dispossession of First Nations people. And as such, it is our collective responsibility to acknowledge our histories, our relationships to the land, and our relationships to one another, because acknowledging and understanding these relations is fundamental in repairing past wrongdoings and in rebuilding a healthy community wherein we can truthfully live together in peace and friendship. The region over which the city of Dartmouth is built has a particular connection to this ongoing story. Dartmouth was among the battle sites during the Father-le-Lut War, also known as the Indian or Micmac War, where Mi'kmaq and Acadian allied militias conducted raids on the treaty-violating settlements and fortifications being established in the area by Edward Cornwallis. It was in an effort to squash this resistance movement that Cornwallis issued his notorious scalping proclamation against the Mi'kmaq. Dartmouth was also home to one of the area's last surviving Mi'kmaq communities at Turtle Grove, in the area now known as Shannon Park and Tufts Cove. The community was obliterated during the 1917 Halifax explosion, which is a piece of the story that doesn't get mentioned in Heritage Minutes or much anywhere else. Just across Alderney Landing here on a shrubby hill still stands St. Paul's Cemetery. On that hill, among the mix of marked and unmarked graves, stands a stone cryptically informing visitors that the grounds contain the graves of hundreds of Indians and two of their chiefs. This is in reference to the unmarked burials here throughout the 19th century, but oral history among the Mi'kmaq tells us that those grounds have been used for Mi'kmaq burials since long before that. In that same cemetery, a plaque commemorates the history of the Mi'kmaq in this area. It calls upon citizens of the HRM to tell and honor this story, but also to grapple with the responsibilities that fall upon us today to do right what has been and what continues to be wrong. Of course, there's more to the story of Dartmouth. Since the arrival of the first 353 immigrant settlers aboard the Alderney in 1750, Dartmouth has been home to many. Quakers and loyalists have made their mark here, so have many industries. And as new development burgeons in our city, we need to ensure that we have representation in council that speaks to the interest of people over the profit-driven interests of the development industry. We're seeing now on the Halifax Peninsula, year after year, neighborhoods struggling to defend their communities from developers. We need to have someone who has our back in council. Someone who follows in this area's well-established tradition of caring for the common good. Someone who follows in the spirit of the Ropeworks factory workers who collectively bought a piece of land and offered it as a public space named Victoria Park, just a few blocks away from here in that direction. The spirit of Leighton Dillman, who is now commemorated for his volunteer work in the preservation of the Dartmouth Common. Hey, buddy. As a place all of us can call our own to share. The spirit of the Metro Youth for Global Unity and other project planners of the Peace Pavilion, which stands in this park just over there, who have refused to let the monument be commercialized as an attraction and continue to call the pavilion a sanctuary away from commercialization, a tribute to peace and the oneness of humanity. Dartmouth holds in its history numerous examples of what it means to care for one another and to provide for one another. Together, we can look to our past for guidance, look to our future for hope, and look to our present for action. Together, we can elect Gabriel Enxuga to bring this vision to Halifax City Council. Thank you. Merci.
My name is Michelle Malette, and I am a client support worker at a homeless shelter here in Halifax. I'm a board member for Acorn in Dartmouth, and I'm also a member of the Anti-Racism Committee for Solidarity Halifax. My partner and I live in Dartmouth, and we're very happy to be here. We're raising our two kids here. We go to their sports. sports here. We use all the facilities and things here. We love Dartmouth. My job this afternoon is to speak briefly to what Solidarity Halifax is, since you're all maybe hearing about Solidarity Halifax for maybe the first time. Why we've decided to enter formally into municipal politics. And after that, I get the pleasure of introducing our candidate, fellow Solidarity Halifax member, Gabriel Enxuga. Solidarity Halifax was founded in November 2011 by activists, organizers, and community members who were interested in coming together to actively oppose all forms of discrimination and oppression, to actively oppose all threats to sustainability and health of our natural environment, and to create a culture of solidarity through relationship building between people and organizations. At Solidarity Halifax, we run campaigns like the Power to the People campaign that tells everyone that we believe that the utilities should be public and not belong to private interests. We work in coalitions like the collaboration with the Canadian Federation of Students, ACORN, and other organizations that are interested in the Nova Scotia Needs a Raise campaign, which says that everyone who works a minimum wage job needs to earn at least $15 an hour.
Yeah!
We do ally work, like the ongoing joint efforts of our Anti-Racism Committee with UJAMA and other organizations for a one-day conference and website, Working While Black in Nova Scotia. This website chronicles personal stories of anti-Black racism in the workplace right here in Nova Scotia. We organize public events and opportunities in our community for public discussion, like the People's History Conference, our recent Treaty Day event between all nations, and a panel discussion on capitalism and childcare. Everyone here knows that people in our communities are struggling. We know that our neighbors are sometimes choosing between feeding their families and heating their homes, and that's not okay. Many in our community have no access to safe and affordable housing. They can't find work and cannot afford to access key services like transit and childcare. At Solidarity Halifax, we strongly believe that another city is possible. A city where there is safe and affordable housing for everyone, a city with fair wages for workers, a city where families can afford childcare and transit, a city where racism and sexism are actively challenged, a city dedicated to addressing climate change and building a sustainable economy. Solidarity Halifax has watched activists around the world use municipal politics as a way of engaging in the struggle for social, environmental, and economic justice. After 4 years of effectively intervening in struggles for many people across our communities, we feel confident that we can also intervene right here at City Hall in Dartmouth. That's why it's my pleasure to introduce Solidarity Halifax candidate in District 5, my friend Gabriel Enxuga. Gabriel is a well-known community organizer who's been a member of Solidarity Halifax for many years. He's worked with Dartmouth residents to advocate for more affordable housing, the elimination of predatory lending in our city, and access to public transit for people living on social assistance. Gabriel has also been an advocate for trans health care and has organized for better working conditions for low-income workers through Baristas Rise Up. Gabriel has spent long hours speaking to people and speaking up for people, our residents all across our community. And he will work hard at City Hall to stand up for democracy, the environment, and social justice. Putting people and the planets before profits is not just a dream. It's about making concrete changes now that make Dartmouth a place where people and communities thrive. Gabriel will not back down from challenging the developers and corporate interests who run our city. He will stand up for democracy and social justice as a voice on City Council, and he will have Solidarity Halifax behind him every step of the way. Please join me in supporting Gabriel Enxuga for District 5.